Good morning, friends. November 18th, 2023. I'm having a Twitter conversation with a lady by the name of Bad Girl Box on Twitter, and she said that she was sorry to hear about the swattings, um, and she said a lot of very reasonable things. So let me read her tweets, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff going on. Another swatting call tonight. These people need to get a life. And then she says, "This makes me sad. I hope you're okay." I said to her, "There's a certain anxiety with each swatting I absorb. It's crazy that becomes your new normal. Hopefully, the authorities are at least aware of what's going on. And while I don't want them busting into your home every time, I still are still aware of the importance of at least checking you're okay whenever they get a call. I even called the sheriff when I moved here 2 years ago and I said, I'm a victim of targeted harassment and swatting calls. You might get some. I'm running for president. Don't come to my home guns blazing. They came guns blazing. You can't, I said, you can't make a turkey an eagle. She says, I hope they might understand how, with someone of a higher profile in your current internet era, that swatting has become the new long range weapon at everyone's disposal. I at least appreciate that they consider it important to never become lax and ignore all threats. And I said, expecting law enforcement to think was your first mistake. Unfortunately, a sad fact of current era for discretionary judgment broadcast on it now. That's what I said. There's one here. It said, I said, at this point, I told the sheriff to stop my home. It's causing me great emotional stress, and they seem to enjoy hurting me. I'm afraid they will murder me to cover themselves from breaking the law. It's an egregious civil rights violation. She says, it would be so much better if they tried to work with you so that when they receive calls to SWAT you, they could call you and have a word or passphrase in place that you could use to convey any real danger should it ever arise. I said, I suggested a code word for all the crazy calls because the caller says they're me. I have suggested this 5 times. I've also just suggested they put a cellular trail cam so they can see my property live if they want. They drive 60 miles one way to come to my home. She says, I guess it's just easier policing to keep going out to the middle of nowhere for the millionth time than it is to process all the paperwork of illegals and people traffickers. You're an easy target to SWAT and an easy call to follow up on. And I said 60 in-person visits of them, the first 11 pointing guns at me. Now a mix of call first and maybe visit, 60 plus calls. So we're at a total of 120 calls. So like the sheriff has received 120 phone calls saying dangerous things are happening at my home. And out of those 120 phone calls, they've come to my home 60 times, and 60 other times they just called to make sure things were okay. So they did avoid coming out 60 calls, which is good. I've sent the sheriff, and I think they're either getting overtime or making friends with future president of the United States. I just don't know. I sent them 25 emails with leads and no reply ever. So that's also very suspicious because I met an investigator, Barron, and he gave me his email, and I've sent him stuff, and other sheriffs have said, yeah, Barron said he got it, but he never hits reply to me. Thank you, Wayne. I got your information. Never any professionalism like that. Maybe that's their policy to never communicate with a suspect. I think they think of me as a suspect. I think it's ludicrous. Like, tap my phone, listen to the calls I have with people, which are not many. I talk to my best friend like twice a week or something, and that's literally it. Oh, hmm. So so this is a civil rights violation, what's happening to me, because since I warned them that people are doing targeted harassment and making prank calls, swattings, where I was previously at, that they could be doing it when I move here. So to use to violate my civil rights, to enter a property without a search warrant, they need to have something called exigent circumstances. And there's three things that could happen. A person's life is in imminent danger, like there's a hostage with a gun to their head, that there are criminals inside the residence and they're destroying evidence, like flushing the drugs down the toilet, or that a criminal is fleeing capture from the police, running out the back door, that it's a known criminal and so the police know that a wanted criminal is in a residence and they want to capture that wanted criminal. So they're not going to go through the lengthy process of getting a search warrant to find the criminal hiding in there. They know there's a criminal in there, and so they have really good evidence that would stand up in court. That's why they didn't need a search warrant. So when they enter a property without a search warrant, that's a violation of somebody's civil rights. And those are the exigent circumstances. Then there's another thing called curtilage, like it's the fence from your home. They're not allowed to enter the property, your curtilage. They have to respect the boundaries. Like I have a rope barrier and a no trespassing sign for my property that says you're not welcome to come here. And like one time, I was just on the internet like about 11 o'clock, and I'm just typing, and I didn't hear anybody. And then a person says, "Hi, Wayne." And I look over and it's the sheriff, and it scared the shit out of me. He snuck up on me, and he said he snuck up on me on purpose because he wanted to see what I was doing without him knowing he was there. He wanted to spy on me. So he violated my curtilage, he trespassed on my property, and he created anxiety for me. Like, if they want to spy on me, go sit in the bushes with a camera and spy on me this way. But to do trespassing, I could have been masturbating. I could have been cleaning a gun. That I don't have guns, but if I was cleaning a gun, and then he's like, "Hi, Wayne. Oh, you got a gun? Bang, 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 bang." Like I just don't know what's going. They're like, so I live in the West, and it's the Wild West, and so like if you live in a town with the mafia, like if you open a pizza joint next to a mafia pizza joint, it's not going to go well for you. You can't fight the mafia. You can't reason with the mafia. So I don't feel that I can actually reason with my sheriff. I'm afraid of them. If they're breaking the law now, me asking them to follow the law, that's just a fight with them. It's just a fight. So I feel like I'm in danger. Like I fear for my life. Like if you get pulled over 60 times for speeding and you're not speeding, I pulled you over because you're speeding, but you're not speeding. If they pull you over 60 times and they don't give you a ticket, isn't it like logical that you're gonna get a ticket eventually? Like something bad's gonna happen? My whole life, I've tried to do everything to avoid any contact with the police by following the law. And the only time I ever had contact with the police was speeding. I used to be a speeder, and I had a terrible attitude about speeding. I had fast cars, and I said to myself, I can speed as much as I want until I got a ticket. And then once I got a ticket, I had to cool it for the 18-month period. I could go to traffic school. And after the 18 months of cooling it with speeding, I could go back to speeding. And I don't speed anymore. I don't have fast cars, and I like driving slow. So, it's just not worth it to be in trouble with law enforcement. I also got a drunk driving in 2009, and I lost my license for 5 years, and it ruined my life. uh, I don't want to have anything to do with the courts. So I'm just, I'm running for president because there's horrific amounts of corruption and rot through the whole government system, from local to national. And the president of the United States is top law enforcement officer. So I follow the laws. I'm polite to my local sheriff. Um, when they're here, I don't say, well, you don't have permission to enter my property. Get out of here. I don't say that. I'm like, come on, let me show you around. Let me show you what I got. Let me show you my solars. Let me show you the washing machines I got free from Craigslist. Let me show you my canoe. Let me show you anti-gravity. Let me show you the pinball machine. I'm a dude who's struggling. I'm getting free shit from Craigslist, and I haven't even resold it yet, but the goal is to resell it. So I'm just trying to get back on my feet. Like I told you, my old landlord was running a clandestine drug business. I have evidence. I have witnesses. You could arrest him. That by him being arrested for the drug thing, then that would allow me to sue him for civil damages for the pain and suffering he caused me. His house is worth $1.3 million, paid for from drug money. So this guy fucked me. He fucked my life over. He owes me $50,000. I remodeled his home. And when the remodel was over, he evicted me and didn't pay me. So I wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for this fucking criminal who I reported to the Sonoma County Sheriff, who did nothing. So this is just a great example of how law enforcement, by not enforcing laws and letting criminals get away with bad behavior, hurts innocent people like myself. There's nothing, everything is broken in America. I reported my old landlord to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for unlawful eviction. And since I'm not gay or a at-risk person, they won't take my case. It's insanity. It's just, we're living in a super insane world, and all you can do is just don't get insane. Like, don't let it affect you. You got to let these things pass. You got to find a way. If you have to fight back through the legal system, I have hardly any money. I barely have enough money to pay my phone bill for the month. And I don't have money for next month, and I have no income. And the emotional pain and suffering that I face every day from the sheriff and these swatting calls erodes my ability to earn money and to function in life. They're hurting me. That's my story. All right, I'm done.